right, what's up, all you workflow obsessed nerds like myself? Today, I'm going to be trying a little bit of a different format. I have this idea that I've kind of been knocking around in my head for a while, and I want to try and do a bit more of a full build on camera for you guys to kind of show, I guess, my thought process, my workflow, kind of troubleshooting as we go. The idea, I think, is pretty simple, so hopefully this shouldn't drag out too much, but it is an idea that I've never workshopped. I've only kind of brainstormed it, and I thought, oh, this might be a handy thing that I can create, which will kind of solve more of just a niche thing for me. I don't know if this is really a universal thing that everybody would use, but it was something that I'm like, this is a thing that I don't like to do. Maybe I can find a way to expedite it and make it simple, because I like being lazy, and so I'll spend hours building a solution versus the 3 or 4 minutes that it would take to do it manually. So here's where we're at. So the concept that I want to bring up to you guys is basically at the end of a job. Usually I like to operate in a folder structure that's like this. This is how pretty much all of my job folders look if I have control over the job. And basically these top folders right here, these 13 folders are what I operate in. And then at the very end of the job, I take all the final documentation from these folders and I consolidate it into the wrap folder. So it kind of acts as, a bit of I'm trying to think of the word, not a microcosm of it, but it's just basically a consolidated version of all the working folders where all the final documentation ends up in here at the end of the job. That way, if, 2 years down the line, there needs to be some question regarding the archival of this job, I can go to this one folder, pull everything final out of it, and be like, hey, here's what we did, what it cost, whatever. So usually the process before would be like, all right, cool, I got to go through each of these folders, I got to find what I'm looking for, I got to drag it all the way down to the wrap folder, I got to drag it into the appropriate folder, production, if it would go, and call sheet, all that stuff. So it's just a little bit more of a tedious process to drag and drop everything, identifying everything. So I thought, there's got to be a better way. So we'll find out if there is. So I got to thinking, all right, is there a way that I could expedite this? How could I identify the files that would be finalized? And it's like, okay, cool. The obvious one is like, just go in here and rename final. But I don't want to have to type out final for every single file. And I don't want every single file to read final if somebody comes in and looks at it. Just kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't seem neat and tidy, even though everyone says final. So I got to thinking, I actually already have a system that I use for categorizing my purchase orders that I actually picked up from my best friend and fellow producer. And it is actually Mac's color coding tag system, where you can go into this and you can select various color tags on here. And I was like, okay, there's definitely a way to identify it. And I typically do this when it comes to my accounting. If you go in here, I actually have a color-coded system for these that indicates the status of purchase order folders. So if it's blue, it means the folder contains everything it's needed and it's been paid. If it's green, that folder is cleared to basically pay or act upon. Orange means that something is missing. Red means that something is wrong. And then purple means that something unusual is happening regarding that folder. It could be something, non-conventional, like, maybe there's a vendor that owes us a deposit check back. It's a little bit different than orange because it's not preventing us from paying, but it's just something that I need to be on the lookout for and making sure I relay that information to the company to expect that payment to come back in. So I was like, all right, cool. If we can put colors, or if we can put the color tags on these, then maybe we can find a way within some kind of script to be able to comb through the folder, identify those, and then it moves every single one of the files or folders that is listed as blue into the wrap folder. So let's just go through and kind of just tag a few things just to set up the baseline. And then we're going to go into Claude and we'll go into Warp to kind of start drafting and creating the script. So we're going to go through here. Let's do Casey Morgan's petty cash envelope. Let's go into the call sheets. Let's do this call sheets. Let's just do this map file just to do that. Purchase orders, I already did all those ones. Let's do a shot list just to do it. And yeah, that'll be enough for now. So I've got, a number of blue tagged files. So then the next step that I want to do is basically go into Claude and I want to dictate everything that I want this to be able to do. So we'll go into Claude And what I'm going to tell it is I want it to basically draft a script, a Unix executable script that can live on my Mac, which then when I call it, it's just a simple like 1 or 2 word thing that I have to type and it will activate and run the script for me. So let's just start with this dictation and we'll kind of go from there. I need help creating a Mac executable Unix file that I can use to help move a certain type of file from a set of folders into a consolidated single folder with subfolders, period. The indicator that I'm trying to use is the blue tag that is used within the Mac Finder folder structure, period. Basically, what I would like is a command that prompts me to give it a directory path. I then paste that path in, and then the command will run through that path and all of the subfolders, searching for anything that has a blue Finder tag on it, period. From there, it will then take those files and folders, and it will consolidate them into a folder within that directory called the wrap folder, and then it will go to the necessary folders that corresponds to it within the wrap folder, period. Okay, so that right there was just a very loose kind of shotgunning of information out there, which I'm always amazed at how well AI can interpret the nonsense that I throw at it into something that is discernible. But I want to go back and look at this folder and make sure that I'm at least saying enough things outright that it gives me a command that I can at least function with as a baseline. Now that's warp, so we'll go back to here. So one of the main things that I needed to be able to do is I needed to be able to recognize which of these subfolders it needs to go in. And I think for the most part, all of these subfolders correspond to the names of the folders above it. So I think what I'm going to tell it to do is to look at the pathways and the names of all the folders. So it will look at locations and location agreement. And then when it goes to the wrap folder, it will then know, oh, hey, here's a subfolder with locations. It must belong in this folder. So I think I need to instruct it specifically to factor something like that in there. That's a good thing to do. If it doesn't correspond, maybe I'll just have it put it in the folder that says miscellaneous. Everything that doesn't fit just goes into miscellaneous, and I can manually reorganize it from there. So I think that will be a good enough start. And then I should probably specify, since it's looking through all these folders, it should know that the folder that says wrap isn't one that it needs to pull from. That's where everything is going. So I need to make sure that it is aware of that. And probably to look for the word wrap specifically. So we'll say wrap folder. Please note that the entire directory will contain both the folders that the command needs to search through, as well as the folder that it's going to be moving all of the files to. Period. The folder that it is moving the files to will have the name WRAP in it, comma. Everything within that folder will be destinations for files, period. In terms of knowing which files need to go to which subfolder within the wrap folder, please have the command check the folder names along the pathways leading to the files and use those as context clues to infer where it needs to go within the wrap folder subfolder, period. So I think this would need to be a text matching type code, period. So for example, if one of the top folders has the name locations, then it needs to go to the subfolder within the wrap folder that has the word locations, period. There might be some folders that are several levels deep, period. For example, call sheets live within the production folder, but then there's a call sheet subfolder that the call sheets live in, period. So for those call sheets, it would need to know, okay, production is a keyword, comma, and call sheet is a keyword, comma. That way, when it goes to look in the wrap folder as to where it needs to go, it knows, or at least has enough context to make that be the, I forgot how to speak. it has enough context to know that that is probably the place where it needs to go, period. And then finally in the wrap folder, there is a folder with the name MISC, which any unknown files can land there, and I will manually sort out later, period. Let me know if there is any other information that I can give you to help clarify this, period. I would like this command provided to me in a single command that I can input into a terminal, which will automatically write the file to the pathway that I'm giving you below. And then what I'm actually going to do is go into my scripts workflows folder and just give it the necessary pathway so it knows where I want it to write to. So we've copied the pathway, go back to here, and then we will put pathway in. Now that that's in there, we are going to fire the script, or prompt, I should say, and we'll let it do its magic and see what happens. All right, it's looking for some things to confirm. Mac Finder tags are stored in extended file attributes. The scripts will use them to detect blue tags specifically. Okay, that doesn't sound like a problem. You mentioned the wrap folder already exists with the subfolders inside the same root directory you pass in. The script won't create those subfolders, just route into them. That is correct. Keyword matching logic, the script will collect all folder names along the path to each tagged file, then compare those keywords against the names of the subfolders inside wrap. Scoring matches to find the best destination. Unmatched files go to wrap miscellaneous. Great. Move versus copy. I'm going to write it as a move, not copy, since you said consolidate, but I'll add a flag so you can switch it to copy mode easily. That's actually great. It will print a dry run preview first and ask you to confirm before any files actually move. That's great. I literally would have wanted to do that, but the fact that it thought that ahead of time is fantastic. Perfect. Here is the entire block into terminal. So basically what this is going to do is I'm going to take this entire code and put it into terminal, and it will put everything in there that I need. It will write the file to that folder that we saw, and we'll be able to basically try it immediately. So let's copy this whole thing. We're going to go into Warp, which is a terminal app that basically, your Mac comes with a native one called Terminal, but this is a little bit more robust. So we're going to do that. We're going to paste this in here. We're going to see what happens. We'll press enter. And then actually, if we go back to our Finder, we should see a new script has appeared in here. And if it doesn't, then something else needs to happen. Probably something. I don't think any of these are new. So let's go back in here and ask. Prompt search directly path, auto detects wrap folder. Then to run at any time. Oh, wait, maybe I need to run this to actually put it where it needs to go. Do I run the second command to actually make it appear in the folder? Question mark. Writes the file and makes it executable. By the end of that command, the file is already sitting in your scripts workflows folder. The second command is just how you launch it whenever you want to actually use it on a project. Okay, comma, I'm not seeing this file name in the folder, period. I put the first large command and all the code into terminal, but there is no Unix executable file within my scripts folder. The path has a space issue. It shouldn't, but let's slap it in there and see what happens. Oh, actually, this might actually have not done anything. Oh, the process is still running. Okay, so that's the issue. So it looks like the process is actually still running, comma. I input the initial script and code, but nothing was ever completed. It still says there is something running in the background, period. How do I diagnose or troubleshoot? Question mark. End of script. Okay. Okay, now we're back to it. Let's see what this is. If there's anything new. All right, wrap consolidator.sh. Okay, so this is a different file type. So I will see if I can convert it to anything else. Yeah, so right now this is a .sh file, which is a code file, and I don't want it to be that. I want it to be one of these Unix executable files that I can call directly from the terminal. I don't know if this can be called from the terminal, but it's not how I've usually worked, so I want this to just be familiar with the way that I've worked before. So let me get a code from this and then ask it to kind of revise it to be more the style that I want. Here is an example of my other code that is executed directly from that scripts folder within a terminal period. Would you be able to revise it so it fits this question mark? And I will put that in. Looking at your existing plain.sh files that you run directly. Actually, let me just give you the file directly so you can install it the same way our other scripts were installed. How did you originally get a new PO into that folder? Did someone give it to you file? No, as of right now, all of the scripts were typically fully generated within here, and the install command was wrapped within that one command. Period. Now, that being said, I did run your end command from earlier, so I do have a .sh file currently sitting in that directory. Let's just overwrite it with the full correct contents. All right, great. It's going to give me the full script as it needs to be. I don't know why it's saying Python, though. I'm worried that it's still going to think that it's a command. Fine. Say Python. Will it Unix executable or still a source code file? Wait till it finishes this. We may have to wait again for it to do its thing. Instead of a here doc, which is much more reliable for long. Okay, maybe this is right. So it does it in 2 steps. As the installer is only writing the file like a more reliable version. Okay, cool. All right, so let's just do this then. All right, so let's copy this guy. And then let's go back to this, and let's actually delete the consolidator. We don't need that anymore. Press OK. Then we will go back to warp, and let's run this full command that it gave us. Let's see, ZSH event not found, and then we will... All right, so file written successfully, ZSH event not found, been bashed. Not sure what that is, but I don't think it's a problem yet. We'll go back to Claude. We will go in and get the executable file or whatever it does that makes it executable. We'll throw that in there. Let's actually see if it's in there yet. And it's not in there as of now that I can see. So let's go into warp. Let's do this command. Echo ready does its thing. And we should go back. It's not in there. What did I do wrong? Okay, so right here it says no such file or directory, so something is missing. So let's go back into Claude, let's throw it in, and let's just paste the code right in there and see what it says. It's a markdown hyperlink that got mixed in the command when you copied it. So the actual file name should be wrap consolidator.sh, run this. So we will go in here, fire it again. Looks like it is in there. It's showing this. File didn't write at all. No wrap consolidator. Let's try it this time. Okay, cool. Command 1. Let's do this. And let's do whatever this does. And then finally, it looks like it wants us to put all the code in there one more time. We'll wait till it's all in there. Run all 3, should return a clean. All right, run all 3 in order and tell me what you see after each one. Command 3 should return you to a clean prompt with no output. That means it worked. All right, looks like we're okay. So let's go back into the folder and see what's up. Once again, it does a wrap consolidator.sh. Man, I don't know what is going on here. Copy that path. So hyperlink every time you copied it. So let's try and run this. All right, the file is actually already there and executable from command 2. We just need to verify it's correct. Run this. Let's go back in, see what it says. It does something. Enter the full path. Okay, so something is working here. All right. All right, well, we're at least in a functioning position. Let's find out what's happening. So let's go into our folder. We will click on the top folder. We will copy the path. Let's paste it in here. Press enter, scanning. All right, move plan preview. Nations. It found 9 blue tagged items. So let's proceed with moving them anyway, and let's see what happens. Press yes, moved, moving files. It says none of them have moved. Let's go take a look at it and see if anything has actually changed. So nothing has changed in all of this. So let's see what the error is and go back and troubleshoot it. Yeah, everything is still in the top folders. So let's put this entire thing in there and see what Claude has to say. All right, it doesn't appear that it worked, comma, here is the full code results. All right, let's overwrite the script with a fixed version. Run command 1 first if your terminal session is fresh. Otherwise, skip straight to command 2. It's not fresh, so we can just overwrite. So, all right, cool. Let's see what it does here. Wait till it redoes everything. All right, the key fixes replace declare a associative array with a parallel indexed array. Let's do this. Copy it again. We'll go back into warp, run the whole thing. It all seems fine. So how do I actually run this question mark, given that it's still a .sh file and a source code file, period? All my other commands, I literally just type the name of the executable file and it runs that script. Meaning terminal knows to look for the commands. Yes, we need to do 2 things. Make sure the script is executable, then add it to your path if it already isn't. Yeah, so that folder is already on my path. It knows to look directly in that folder. That folder is already on my path, so I just want to put it into a single command. Since your folder is already in the path, the only other issue is to fix is a .sh. No extension, that's why you can type new PO and it runs, but this one isn't behaving the same way. Rename it to drop the extension and make sure it's executable. Okay, cool. So this hopefully is just 2 lines of code. So let's go there. Let's fire that. And then let's try this. And let's try that. All right, so let's see if it's changed. Perfect. That's what we want it to look like. Unix executable file. Okay, let's try this again. Now I'm actually excited. At this point, if I haven't edited anything out, I'm like 28 minutes into this. All right, let's get the pathway again, and we'll give this a shot. Hope I typed this right. Wrap consolidator. There we go. Directory. Put it in there. Oh, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. What is it finding? Scanning 9 blue tagged items. It found our... Oh, it tells you where it's going. Production maps. It's going to go to wrap, production maps. That's great. Production call sheets, production purchase orders. Awesome. It's moving both files and whole folders here. This makes me so happy. Proceed with moving. Let's press yes. It says it's moved 9 files, and let's go back into this and see. Wrap. We go into production. We see, call sheets there. Map is there. Do we have purchase orders? Ooh, we don't have them in there. That's okay. Miscellaneous. Oh, it created a miscellaneous folder. Okay, so it doesn't search for it. That can be troubleshot. That's not the worst thing in the world. Schedule. So it didn't move schedule into schedules, and it didn't move Casey Morgan petty cache into petty cache. So I'm wondering if it's looking for an exact match or if I need to make it so it has a little bit of a broader understanding. But this is a very, very good initial kickoff here. So let me go ahead and put all this in there to Claude and say what adjustments we need. All right, this is a fantastic starting point, period. The one thing that I want to discern is why some things went to folders and other things didn't, period. It looks like the call sheet and the maps went to their correct folders, but everything else went to miscellaneous, period. Here is the full output from the code. Please let me know what you can discern from this, period. Because there are petty cache folders and purchase order folders within the wrap folder, which is what a lot of these files came from. So let me know where the breakdown might have been. All right, the key matching worked for maps and call sheets because those folder names matched closely to the wrap folder subnames. The other failed because of naming mismatch. Here's where they broke down. The script pulled keyword purchase orders, but your wrap subfolder is probably named something like POs or purchase order, singular, but not close enough of a score. So I can build alias mapping into the script. Ooh, alias mapping. That sounds good. All right, let's go here. Every wrap subfolder name. All right, cool. This is awesome. It just gives me a command to do it too. I don't even have to copy paste that in there. We're gonna do that. It's gonna give me all the info. It's in the folder. This is all the wrap stuff. Okay, cool. So it knows. We're gonna fire this guy. Oh, they have numbered prefixes. Okay, that totally makes sense. Needed to match production schedules, which is 2 levels deep. The fix is to strip numbers and punctuation from wrap folder names before scoring. That alone should fix purchase orders and petty cache. The schedule one needs a small tweak to handle colons and source path words in source path names too. To set the path. Okay, perfect. So it's gonna do all of these revisions for us, which is great. Script, wrap consolidator, great. This is going to go down. It's making its whole thing. Normalized function, colon dash splitting. It's like I'm pretending what this stuff actually means when I'm like, I have a vague understanding of what this is. Yeah. All right, cool. That's done. Now the tedious thing that I have to do is move everything back because I didn't keep the copy phase. So we're going to move all this stuff back super quick. Okay, that's all done. This time I'm going to check where these folders are actually going to go. I was so excited about it transferring last time that I was like, I didn't actually bother to check that all of those ones are going to miscellaneous instead of where they should have gone. So let's try it again. Wrap consolidator. Export sample. Let's go back and let's get our path for here. Let's put the path in there, enter. All right, it finds the files again, tells everything where it's going. Production, purchase orders, purchase orders, purchase orders, purchase orders. Hell yeah. Production, schedule, and petty cache. Let's do it again. Press Y. Go. Let's go back and look at this folder. All right, we got wrap folder, and we have, yes. Oh, we're so close. It at least went to the correct production folder. It didn't go to the correct subfolder, which is weird because these went to the correct subfolder last time, but now it didn't. Miscellaneous. Nothing's in miscellaneous, which is great. Production. What other things were in there? You got petty cache. Casey Morgan is good. Location. Didn't have anything in there. Miscellaneous. Nothing in there. Okay, so we are in a better place, but we went 2 steps forward and then 1 step back here. So production schedule. Do I have schedules in there? Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's even weird. So the schedules one worked. Okay, so that's correct. So now I don't know why these ones didn't go into their necessary subfolders. So let's slap that in there again. Awesome. We went 2 steps forward and 1 steps back, period. All the ones that went to miscellaneous last time were assigned correctly, period. However, the call sheet and the map one now only went to the top level of the production folder, comma, not their named subfolder sections. All right. Throw that in there one more time. See what happens. All right, cool. What that means is the parent folder wins over the more specific folders like maps and call sheet because production scores higher than maps alone. The fixes prefer deeper, more specific matches over shallower ones. Yeah, I like that I understand all of this, but there's no way in hell that I could write it. It's like the equivalent of kind of being able to speak a language, but having no clue how to write it. So let's run this command again. We're going to throw that in there. Script, wrap consolidator. This guy's doing its thing once again. The key is changing. How the scoring works. The subfolder names score against your keywords. Then its parent folder's name adds bonus points. Man, that's great. All right. Copy this again. And then we will go back into here. Put that in there. Should be updated. Let's go back and just make sure that the script is updated. Updated today at 5:29, which is right now. Okay, so we're in a good place. And yeah, let's put everything back in its necessary folders again and try this one more time. One more time. We're going to celebrate. All right. Wrap consolidator. Again. Oh, not that. Not that. Didn't mean to do that. All right, let's try this again. Yep, totally crashed warp there. So let's try this one more time. Again, we're going to go in here. We're going to write wrap consolidator. Boom. We'll put a reasonable path in there. Do this. Does everything it did before. Move plan preview. Drafts everything. Awesome. Going from maps to maps. Going from call sheets to production reports. That doesn't make any sense. So we're not going to activate this. I should not have activated it last time. Once again, I just got so excited that it had made some improvements that I just said, let's go. So we're going to put no files removed. Let's slap it back in there. So close, comma, everything except the call sheets was assigned to the correct folder, comma, only the call sheet was marked to go to production reports. Oh, the fix is a singular normal pluralization, so sheets matches sheet and also boosts exact substring matches more aggressively. Man, who would have thought words were so complicated? All right, let's throw this code back in there again. Man, I thought this was going to be so much more concise than it has ended up being. If you guys are still here, thanks for sticking with me. Doing our thing, drafting code. I should be a software developer. All right, we've done it again. Let's go back. Let's copy our path. Let's do wrap consolidator, enter root path, doing its thing, found 9 blue tagged items. Production maps goes to production maps, call sheet goes to call sheet, purchase orders goes to purchase orders. Good, good, good. Shot list, schedule, yep, shot list schedule. Schedule shot list. That's good that it discerned that. I don't even know how it pulled this off. Is it because it says schedule on it? Okay, top folder says shot list schedule, so it's got something in there, which is good. Oh, shot list schedule Apex. Okay, cool. This whole thing, shot list : schedule, is the folder. Okay, so it didn't cut that out. Great. Petty cache goes there. Let's do it one more time. 9 files moved. Let's go back to it. We're going to go check everything. Production. Call sheets where it should be. Maps are where it should be. Schedules where it should be. Purchase orders are where it should be. And petty cache is where it should be. Nothing in miscellaneous. Awesome. I will do some further tweaks on this, but this is in a very, very, very functional place right now. And yeah, eventually I'm going to try this on a full job. But yeah, however long that this has turned out to be, thank you guys for sticking with me. I hope that this has proved valuable in its own way, because again, this isn't meant to be quite as, concise and scripted and tight as a lot of my other videos. This is like, hey, here's how my mind works. Here's how I kind of think about problems and how I approach them and how I try to solve them. And it's like, thank God that, Claude exists for me to be able to do this kind of stuff, because like it's such a small quality of life thing. But now as I'm going through jobs, I can start to, highlight things in blue to be like, all right, these are the final versions of this. It's no longer just to monitor purchase order status. It's like, okay, cool. This is done. This is done. This is done. This is done. Then at the very end, when I'm like, all right, cool. Like, let's just compile a wrap folder. All I have to do is run this command, give it the necessary path, and everything will go to the place where it needs to go. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me on this absolute odyssey that we've embarked on together as far as I'm concerned. Hopefully it'll cut down to like, I don't know, a half hour, reasonably speaking. I don't know if there's any assets I can give you guys from this. Like, feel free to take this guide for color tagging if you have a Mac. I mean, this is like kind of the basis of the entire thing. So if any of this is useful to you guys, I think I've talked about these prepends before and just how I name my files. Feel free to take this. I'll include it in a link in the description below. Be good. Thanks for joining. We'll see you guys in the next one.